I practiced gratitude every single day for one full year, 365 days, where I forced myself, no matter how I felt, to pause and write, speak, or focus on something I was thankful for. When I started, if I'm honest, it felt like cheesy self-help, scribbling thank you lists like homework. But by the end, something inside me had shifted so deeply that I couldn't imagine life without it. Gratitude didn't just make me happier, it rewired the way my brain worked, the way I saw the world, and the kind of person I became. Day one felt fake. I wrote down, I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for food. The classics. It looked like a kindergarten assignment. I stared at my notebook, thinking this won't do anything. But I had committed to a year, so I kept going. The first week was awkward. Some mornings I sat there, pen hovering, my brain saying, there's nothing new to write. It's all the same. At night, when I was tired, gratitude felt like another chore on my list. My instinct was to rush through it, to tick the box. But even then, subtle sparks were starting. A few times during the day, when something small happened, like finding a good parking spot or receiving a kind message, I caught myself thinking, I could write that later. I didn't realize it at the time. But my brain had begun scanning the world for positives instead of negatives. The shift had already begun. The first month was not easy. Some days I was frustrated, some days angry, some days sad. On those days, gratitude was hardest. Writing I'm grateful for sunshine, when my life felt heavy, seemed pointless. But those exact days were the turning point. Because sitting with the pen, forcing myself to notice something, even tiny, stopped me from drowning. Gratitude didn't erase pain. It gave me a foothold when everything else felt slippery. Within that first month, gratitude showed me its real muscle. It doesn't just make good days better, it makes bad days survivable. By month 2, I started noticing changes. Little annoyances, traffic jams, long lines, late emails normally triggered endless complaints in me. But one morning, stuck in traffic, I heard myself think, at least I have a car, at least I get to listen to music now. That thought shocked me. For years, I was the kind of person who grumbled first, looked for faults instantly. But now, gratitude started overriding old patterns without me forcing it. Psychologists call this neuroplasticity. Repeat something long enough, and your brain literally rewires. Mine was learning to look for light instead of darkness. By month 3, people around me started noticing. Friends said, you seem calmer lately, happier. At first, I shrugged it off. But then, I realized they weren't wrong. Gratitude wasn't just living in my notebook. It was leaking into the way I spoke and moved. I listened better, complained less. Gratitude made me a person people wanted to be around because everyone is drawn toward light. By month 4, journaling gratitude became ritual. Wake up, stretch, write 3 things I appreciated. Sometimes huge, I'm grateful for my mom's health improving. Sometimes tiny. The smell of coffee this morning was amazing. Both mattered. Both changed perspective. The more specific I got, the more powerful the effect. And slowly, gratitude became less of a task and more of a lens. Like wearing glasses for the first time, you realize how blurry life was before. But month 5, through a curveball, stress at work, exploded. Deadlines piled up, personal issues swirled. Gratitude felt flimsy, almost insulting. I wanted to scream, not write cheerful lists. But one night, after a brutal day, I forced myself to write one line. I'm grateful this struggle will make me stronger. I didn't believe it fully when I wrote it, but saying it calmed me just enough to push forward. Over time, gratitude taught me to reframe pain, not deny it, but shift meaning. Instead of why me, I began thinking, what for? What is this teaching me? That question alone pulled me through storms. By mid-year, 6 months in, I looked back and saw the first half of my life challenge documented in gratitude notes. Reading them was like flipping through an album of hidden blessings I would have forgotten. Gratitude preserves joy. It literally records the good so your brain can revisit it. Looking back, I realized how many ordinary days contained extraordinary moments I would have missed without writing them down. It made me angry at myself for how many years I'd let slip by unnoticed. And it made me determined never to sleepwalk through life again. Months 7 through 9 were extraordinary. Gratitude had rearranged my perspective entirely. Little wonders shone daily. Cool air on my morning walk, laughter in a grocery line, finishing a tough workout. And here's the insane part. Gratitude rewired my relationship with people. Normally, I would silently appreciate someone, but never say it. Now, I found myself texting, "Hey, I really appreciate you," or telling coworkers, "Thanks for catching that detail." The shock on their faces made me realize we starve for gratitude in our culture. Sharing it doesn't just lift you, it multiplies. My relationships deepened quickly, simply because I finally said out loud what I had always rushed past. By month 10, gratitude became resilience. When life blindsided me with disappointments, my old spiral would have been resentment, anger, self-pity. But gratitude whispered, "Not everything is ruined." Look again, it didn't erase problems, but it gave me ground to stand on while facing them. Studies show gratitude lowers stress hormones like cortisol. I lived it. Storms came, but I bent instead of breaking. By month 11, I understood gratitude as power, not fluffy or soft, but strength. Gratitude is rebellion. It rejects scarcity and says, "I have enough right now." And from that strength, creativity grows. Opportunities open. Because when you don't complain constantly, when you don't walk around bitter, people want to work with you, help you, trust you. My career grew in small but undeniable ways, because I had stopped looking hungry and started looking full. Finally, day 365, I sat down, opened my notebook, and wrote my final entry. And unlike day 1, this wasn't a forced list. It poured out dozens of names, moments, lessons, tiny blessings, painful growth turned gifts. Tears came, because reviewing the year made it obvious. Gratitude had raised my baseline. If my happiness thermostat used to be set at 5 out of 10, after a year of gratitude, it was closer to an 8. Bad days still came, but they started from higher ground. And the best days, they felt transcendent. So what happens when you practice gratitude for 365 days? The surface level answer: stress drops, sleep improves, relationships grow. The real answer: your identity changes. Gratitude stops being something you practice and becomes who you are. You no longer need to remind yourself constantly. Your brain defaults to it. That year taught me the greatest truth of all. Gratitude doesn't just add happiness to your life. It multiplies it. It doesn't make life perfect. It makes it clearer. It makes it enough. And that shift is everything. Because once you practice gratitude long enough, you finally realize this. Life hasn't gotten bigger or better. It was beautiful all along. You just never noticed.